Welcome to the Aspire podcast with the team from Cavendish. We're at the amazing offices today of Moneypenny in Wrexham, so I'm rather hoping to run into Ryan Reynolds. But before I meet Ryan and have a chat with him, with my old friend, I want to talk about what's going on in the property industry. As always, if you have questions that you want the team here to answer, you just need to post them in the comments or email the team at your local Cavendish office. But I'm going to start with a change we've talked about for the last few episodes, but it's really imminent, which is the Renters' Rights Act. So we are now T-minus on the day we're recording,
10 days. Yeah.
So go on, Nicola. What do people need to know that if you haven't got on top of this?
Yeah.
What should they be thinking about with 10 days to go?
So from the 1st of May, all tenancies will roll over to be an assured periodic tenancy, so they'll no longer be an AST. And with that, every tenancy that's already in existence has to be served an information leaflet. And landlords have only got 31 days, or agents have got 31 days to make sure that that's served on the tenant. And you've got to keep proof that you've served it to them as well. That's one of the first things that landlords are going to have to look at. And then after that, there's obviously many more things that are coming in with Section 13, so rent increases, permission for pets, the avoidance of bans. There's lots of there's lots of potential fines coming in for landlords that get this wrong. They could be fined £7,000 for each and every offence, so it can just add and add and add. And
I understand the government's given local authorities quite a lot of money to pursue people who break the rules.
Yeah, I read a couple of articles to say that, I think there was one council in particular, Wolverhampton, so I know we don't operate in that area, but they'd been given £700,000 for funding for people to go out and look to find landlords and agents that aren't complying with the law.
So, for the people listening, the law comes in 1st of May,
yeah.
And you've only got 31 days to comply with this initial requirement of sending information to every single tenant.
Yeah, that's it.
And you have to do that.
Yeah, we do. And you have to make sure that you are serving it in the way that the tenant has requested. So some tenants don't want to receive paperwork via email, so then you're going to have to go through the effort of posting it out to them as well. So yeah, there's a lot of work involved. And
then you also need to demonstrate that you've done it.
Yeah.
There's nothing like they have to opt into having received it or anything. You know, it's not like if you can prove that you've sent it.
As long as you've got proof that you've sent it, yeah.
Wow. And if you fail?
£7,000 fine straight away.
For every incidence.
Yeah.
Okay, so that if you don't know about it, and I'm sure most of you do now, but if you don't, talk to the guys at Cavendish, because for your clients, you do this for them.
Yeah, we're just working through getting it ready to send out for our landlords, yes.
Fantastic. Now you cross borders, so you obviously operate in England, in Cheshire, and also in North Wales. So tell me, there's some other changes to Welsh legislation when it comes to tenancy.
Yes.
So talk about that.
So in Wales, they have their own legislation, which is Renting Homes Wales Act. But part of the Renters' Rights Act is actually being enacted within that legislation. And that's to do with the ban around discrimination against tenants who may be in receipt of benefits or, that are applying for properties where they've got lots of children, and landlords may in the past have said, no, we don't want that many children in the property. Landlords aren't going to be able to discriminate against the tenants. So that will come in from the 1st of June in Wales. And if you're a landlord in Wales, then you have to every time there's a change in legislation in Wales, you have to notify your tenant that change is taking place. So you have to issue what's called a variation of contract. Now, in England, they've been quite kind to landlords because they're giving them 31 days to notify their tenants of any change. In Wales, you have to notify the tenant within 14 days. So it comes in 1st of June, and tenants have got to be notified again, depending on their method of communication, email or post, by the 15th of June.
And just to clarify, in both of them, these are calendar days, not working days.
Yeah.
So it's not 14
calendar
working days, it's
14
2 weeks.
Days. Yeah.
It's literally 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I've got to ask, because I asked for the English legislation, the impact of you not complying?
Landlords, well, it will be different actually in Wales, because the variation of contract forms part of the occupation contract, which is the tenancy agreement in essence. And if that's not served on the tenant then has an incomplete contract, which actually means you can't serve notice on your tenant to get your property back. So you'd have to, the notice period is 6 months in Wales, so that's longer anyway. The the notice wouldn't be valid, and then it can just have a huge ramification on delays on getting your property back.
So this all sounds, and we talked on another video of, the sell feels like a bit of a headache. If I'm a landlord, I should sell, get out. No? You
should just make sure that you have an agent who can manage it and deal with it properly for you.
Okay, fantastic. And I've seen some of the work you guys do, and genuinely, and I can see how much you help. I was at an event you ran for Landlords, and had the feedback and kind of how you help people. The process that you go through is really structured. I mean, I rented my own property out, and now I wouldn't even consider it, because it's just the rules are so tight and the penalties so bad. Just
got to find an agent you can trust who can manage it all for you.
Fantastic. Yeah. So if that's lettings, never a dull day in lettings.
No, never ending.
So sales must be plain sailing with the no geopolitical problems, no false wars, no kind of strange things going on in the world. Absolutely, I mean, it's all smooth. So what's going on in sales?
Yeah, so actually, despite, we were having a conversation off camera before, weren't we? And despite what's going on out there in the world, it's actually really busy at the moment.
Okay.
Lots of people getting their house valued, getting advice on how much the property is worth, thinking of moving. Lots of viewings happening, and lots of sales happening as well. So actually, despite what you might read out there, in the press and what is going on out there in the world at the moment, the market's actually moving.
Because a lot of people out there will follow national property averages. How relevant is a national property average to a local market?
Yeah, completely irrelevant. For example, we were chatting before, and we said that in one area that we cover, prices had dipped by, was it 10,000 or 20,000? You'd said, basically, it's very easy to get swallowed up in perhaps the Rightmove house price index, or the press headlines where it says house prices have dipped by 2%, but the reality is the metric they're using is asking prices. So what that basically means is, let's say house prices were 300,000 one month, and then the next month the average property coming onto the market is 310,000. So house prices have gone up by £10,000. But what that just means is more expensive properties have come onto the market, or cheaper properties have come onto the market. So it's the mix of properties. So it's very easy to get caught up in those headlines, but the reality is, and to paraphrase Kate Faulkner on this, there is no property market. There is a market for your property, and you can literally narrow that down to postcodes, to streets, literally to sides of the road on a terrace street, let's say. There is a market for each individual property.
So we've talked about what you do in lettings, and we talked on another video, not part of this series, in terms of what you do to help people who are selling a property. In a nutshell, what is your advice? This is obviously, with everything going on in the world, I shouldn't put my property on the market now. How do you respond?
Well, it all depends. So if someone's saying, I'm not going to put my property on the market now, I'm going to wait, we're not in a rush, whatever, what I would ask them is, well, why are you moving? Where are you moving? What's the reason for the move? Because at the end of the day, if you want to move because you need to downsize, upsize, change location, perhaps to get kids into a catchment area of schools, that's the motivation. And actually, data from Rightmove tells us that these months, the spring and summer months, are the best times to list a house for sale. That's when the most buyer activity is. So actually, and going back to what we said before, we've seen the market in Chester and North Wales, from a buyer's perspective, been really busy in the last couple of months, despite what's going on out there. So if you've got a property and you want to sell, now is a really good time to actually list it.
And I've also seen some data, because actually we've seen this for quite a while, a long trend in terms of it takes longer to complete.
Yeah, indeed.
So actually we're now recording this towards the end of April.
Yep.
And I think the average from new instruction to sold to completion is 6 months.
Yeah,
or over 6 months.
Just over, I think it's 208 days, I think it was off the top of my head.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we're recording this on the, today, 21st of April. Reality is your average, and again, very easy to get caught up in the headlines here, but the average person listing their house today wouldn't complete until Halloween.
Yes.
But it doesn't have, because my big thing I say to sellers is, 1 in 4 sales will fall through, or 1 in 3 sales will fall through, whichever metric you look at, or source of that data even. But also it takes 6 months to move home, but it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
There are so many things out there that you can do to prepare your property for sale, so it doesn't take 6 months. It can actually happen in 4 months if you get everything right. And there's certain things that you can do. Like, for example, one of the things that can speed up a sale process is get legally prepared. Instruct a solicitor, get all your ducks in a row, fill out the paperwork before your property even goes on the market, so that when a sale is agreed, your solicitor can literally send the draft contract straight to the other side and get that traction working straight away. Whereas what we see quite a lot is that a seller will wait until they've got an offer, they'll wait till they've got an offer accepted, and then they'll go, oh, right, I need a solicitor. I'll go and get 2 quotations or 3 quotations. They'll take a week to come back and sort of choose who they want. Then they onboard, then they get all the paperwork, the TA forms, all the fixtures and fittings forms, and they'll procrastinate over filling that out for about 2 weeks. So we've lost 3 weeks straight away. So first tip is get legally prepared. Second tip to sell a house quicker, I would say, is have a proper pricing strategy. So first thing, price on a price point. So don't put the property on the market for 495 or 499,950. This sort of supermarket psychology of pricing really doesn't work anymore. So data from Rightmove tells us that if you price on what's called a price point, so 500,000 rather than 510 or 499,950, you get 16% more detailed views on your listing. So it was 11%, they've just updated it, and it's now 16% more eyeballs. Why wouldn't you want 16% more people to look at your property? And if you price it at 499,999, if someone's searching between 500 and 550, because that's their budget, they ain't going to see it. So price on a price point, price to entice. Our job as an estate agent is to price the property where the most buyer competition is. So have a proper pricing strategy. There's a really interesting stat here that most property sales are agreed within 1 to 2% of the asking price.
Right.
So there's no, let's put it on the market 10% more than it's actually worth just to test the market because we're not in a rush. Well, again, data tells us that the longer a property is on the market, the less it will sell for and the longer it will take. So there's a lot you can do in terms of pricing strategy to quicken that up. And the next thing, marketing. Marketing is so important. Properties that have a video tour on it, so a proper video tour, sell 50% quicker than properties that don't. So having a proper marketing package, which we do at Cavendish, by the way. And interestingly, we've sold in the last week 4 properties to buyers before they've even gone on Rightmove. So they've not even gone on Rightmove yet. Right. But we've sold agreed 4 properties. Off market, there's so many properties out there. There's a really great quote which I love, that all properties are for sale. Yeah. It's just the more motivated sellers that put a for sale board outside and put it on Rightmove. So if you're a buyer watching this video, because I know a lot of buyers will probably see this as well, or people that are selling but are also going to buy, if you want to move to a particular area or a particular property, speak to an agent. Speak to an agent like us, because we do targeted buyer campaigns. We'll go and get that property for you. We'll go and direct mail that property and see if they want to sell. So much we can do. So much.
No. This is all fantastic. Now,
I feel like a rabbited dog.
No, not at all. No, it's all been really valuable stuff. And actually, it lends to the kind of question I want to ask is, because about now is the anniversary of a book you produced called The Landlord Playbook.
Indeed, it is.
That's available online.
It is, yep.
A little bird tells me that you might be producing another book.
Yes, indeed.
So what's this and when's this out?
So this one, it's nearly finished. This one, so I haven't got a title. I've got a few titles that I'm playing with, but I'm going to wait until it's completely finished before I choose which one. But basically, this is going to be the book that tells people how to sell their house as quick as possible for the highest price and to make sure it actually goes through. So the 3 most important things: highest price in the quickest time, and the fact that it actually goes ahead. Because, as we know, just under 50% of properties that come on the market do not sell. So that, break that down. Those people do not move house. Those people don't get their kids into that school. They don't get to live near their dependent relative, which is just crazy. So what I've done over the last few years, I've been on a real journey of, basically learning from some of the top estate agents in the country, and working with a lot of coaches and mastermind, and really sort of breaking down the code of how do you sell your house as quick as possible, as fast as possible, and make sure it actually goes through. So what I've done, I've emptied all of my learnings, and I've now been in the industry. I sound really old saying this, but since 2002, so 24 years, since I was 14. So this is 24 years of knowledge and experience, selling thousands of houses into something that people can actually take away and put into practice.
So that book is out when?
So I'm hoping it's going to be out this summer. So it's going to be out probably June, July, August.
Fantastic. So final points before we wrap this up. If you could give one piece of advice to a seller at the moment, and I'll come and ask you about landlords in a second. If you could give them one piece of advice as a seller right now, what would it be?
So one bit of advice, without looking at different problems that person might have, whether they're on the market and they haven't sold or haven't gone on the market or whatever, speak to an agent who has a strategy. They have a framework, that they have a strategy that they use to get you where they want to be. And speak to an agent who is focused on your destination, not just your problem. So many estate agents, they'll help you sell your house, but they won't help you move. And basically what you want is work with an agent who focuses on getting you to that bungalow on the south coast, because that's where you want to be. It's not just selling your house in Chester or Mold or wherever, it's getting you to that bungalow. So helping you negotiate the best price on that bungalow, helping you move.
So what you're saying is I should pick the agent who does the highest possible valuation at the lowest possible fee and take them straight away.
The absolute opposite of that. Gonna get this right now. The most expensive agent is the one that values the house highest and charges the least, because they'll end up costing you more.
Fantastic.
That's all I'll say.
That's brilliant. So Nicola, go on. You've had some time to think about it. Obviously, you're straddling two different legislative environments, but generally, if I'm a landlord now, what would your one key piece of advice be?
It would be to, if you're a self-managing landlord, make sure you're up to date with all the legislation, because that could really damage everything that's kind of going on with your rental property.
That's low-hanging fruit for local authorities, isn't it? Self-managed properties, because they know they're the ones who aren't going to be compliant.
That's it, definitely. And if you're using an agent, just make sure that you're working with an agent that you can trust and that you're confident will manage all the aspects of the changes on your behalf, so that you don't have any headaches, you don't have to worry about it, and somebody's just looking after it for you.
Go on, David, you've got something to add.
Sorry, yeah, just one more thing of value I just wanted to add is that, so I'm a member of a lot of landlord Facebook groups, and it's a bit of a hobby of mine actually, and it upsets me because obviously there's a lot going on at the moment in England and Wales, and I'm not going to name these Facebook groups because I don't want people to look at them, because there's a lot of people asking for advice in these Facebook groups. And there's a lot of people giving really, really bad advice, really bad advice, as an advice that would end you up with a fine, potentially.
Ouch.
So, just want to do a bit of a plug. We have two Facebook groups. We have the Chester Landlord Support Community, and we also have one for landlords who've got properties in Mold, Riffin and Denbigh. The two separate Facebook groups. We'll put a link in the show notes. But if you come and join these Facebook groups, Nicola and I are in those Facebook groups. So if you've got a question, it's us that answer them, not other landlords who perhaps might not give you the correct advice. So if you're a landlord out there and you want to be part of a community where people like to share ideas and ask questions, come and join those groups.
Brilliant. So Nicola, final one to you, just to kind of close that off, same as with David, is if I am a landlord now, what I should do is just carry on by myself, do it myself, and forget the law.
You should do that if you want to incur some fines, but otherwise I think you should use an agent.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for listening. A quick one from the offices at Moneypenny. So thank you for the guys at Moneypenny for hosting our conference in this amazing tree house. Because we're actually in a tree house that wobbles a bit disturbingly, but we won't worry about that. But thank you very much. If you have any questions at all, please contact Cavendish. Put them in the comments below or reach out to David and Nicola. But thank you very much. I'll see you next month.
Thank you.